the next thing we're going to look at on insert, again, you have online pictures, then you have shapes, and I'll show you a couple of things with some shapes real quick. Let's pick a rectangle, and then you have that, again, another contextual tab so that you can play around with it. It's going to be very similar to the pictures. You have the shape fill if you want to change the color of it, the shape outline if you want to change the outline color of the shape styles if you have something in mind, if you want that little transparent kind of look. There's a bunch of different things you can use to play with the shapes. So here, let's move you over here so that way you can see what that looks like. And then if you want to insert another shape, just click on it. And then when you get here, you just click and drag until you make your shape. Now what I want to show you is what a lot of people usually run into issues there. So let's make this shape a different color. Make that one orange. So when you have this right here going on, the layering, and you're concerned of like, oh my God, I just put this picture in and now it's covering this up and now I can't move it. What you need to do is select the picture that you want to mess with. Go here to where it says arrange. See how it says send backward? That means send it behind whatever it was on top of. And that's how you can change the orientation or the layering of it. You can make a lot of custom stuff with that if you take the time with it. But again, that's just another way to mess with it. If you play with Wix sites, that's going to be something that you'll use a lot. I guess like Photoshop, all that stuff is like kind of self-explanatory because you can just move around the layers. But with this, you'll need to go into the arranged pane. And well, right now it's saying send backward. It's not giving me the option to send forward because there's nothing. I don't have the one in front in the foreground selected. But if I select the one in the foreground, I can send that one behind that. So that's the way you change a layer. So if you put something on top of a different image and it's not showing up properly, that's what your issue is. You just need to go in here. Remember, you'll see that contextual tab and send backwards. All right, so let's see, going back into our insert. So those are our shapes. Let's delete those. Get those out of the way. And like I said, online pictures, that's gonna, if you click that, it's gonna ask you where do you want to look online. It'll bring up a couple different options if you want to check your OneDrive or use a Bing search. So again, online pictures, smart art. That's like these little charts and graphs, process charts, hierarchical charts, relationship charts. These are really good if you need to make any kind of custom documents or custom diagrams and stuff like that. Again, you can change all the colors, pick from a theme that can help you out. You don't like any of that, you just hit reset and it'll go back to the default. You can always change the layout of it as well. So just kind of go through these and see if there's one that works out for you. Everything has a placeholder, so you can just select a placeholder and type in whatever you want, once you're ready to start playing with it. The good thing about these, they are able to be deconstructed. So if you can see the bounding box here is for the entire chart. But you can also click individual elements and drag them and, move them around. So everything doesn't have to be exactly how they have it set here. Like I said, it's just like templates. You pick a template that works for you and then you modify it to work in the way that you need it to. Same thing with this one. Nothing different. You just click and drag however you want to make it out to look. That looks like a butt or an heirloom tomato, but it looks like a butt. All right, but yeah, you can add shapes, promote and demote, which is the function, or I'm sorry, not the function, but the placement. Like this is, you want to promote this to be the top level and then this to be the detail, or you can hit promote and turn that into the detail, and it turns it more into I guess the main topic. So say that's the main topic and we want to demote it, then we could turn it into a topic with a subject, if that makes sense to you. And then of course you can add your bulleted list and all that good stuff to it. So there's a lot of this stuff, if you paid attention to the first couple videos, that you can use a lot of these things in some of these other features. The next one, charts. You click on the chart, find the chart that you need. I like the pie charts for some reason, 3D pie charts to be specific. And you can just hover over the chart to see some information there. Once you have the chart you want, you can either double click it or just hit OK. And it'll bring in your chart. And look at that. Now you have somewhere where you can put values just like Excel. So let's keep the first through fourth quarters. And you can see here how much of the chart is there. So let's change some of these values. and you can see how the chart dynamically changes for you. The good thing about this is that it can put the information in for you if you want. What you do is click this little fill handle here, drag it down, and it'll bring in more information for you. When you increase that, then you can add in other things. So let's say 5th, enter, and we'll say 6th. And then we can put in values here. So let's go 2.2 and then 4.6. And you can see it added in our new information for us. So that's a good thing to play with. Again, I would kind of stick to Excel with the charts, but just know that you can include these kind of charts in your Word document. So if you want to get rid of that, of where you enter your values, you click on your chart, and what you can do here, go into design, and you can play with the different styles here. You know, just find a style that fits your needs. If it's going to be a simple chart, then yeah, that'd be fine. You can see how it shows your data sets. If you decide you want a different chart altogether, remember it's another contextual tab. Go to change chart type. So I can't do a 3D, but you can still change it. So let's say if we do a bar chart, hit OK. It's going to keep my same values, but it just changed the chart for me. Now, if I decide I want to do a 3D one with that, now I can go back and select 3D or, you know, something more visually appealing. All right, and then you have here where you can change your chart colors. Again, if you feel the need to do that, you can add in different things, your axes. If you want to add in, again, more information. Like I said, I would prefer to do this in Excel just because I'm a little bit more comfortable dealing with charts in Excel, but definitely feel free to explore. Again, just know that you can do that. You can play with charts and insert them directly through Microsoft Word. So let's go back to insert, and I'm going to bring up charts one more time, and let's do a scatter graph. So again, you have your chart to input your values, and then you're going to see your chart data here. And you can pick your chart style, whatever looks pretty to you. But you can go into format, and again, you can add shapes if you need to. You can change the shape fill if you want different colors in your chart. You can change the way the words are displayed, the text, whatever information you have on there. So you can see how that changed. You can change the positions of how if you write any text like, oh, this chart is to illustrate cells over X amount of periods. There's ways to wrap your text around. So if you ever put text, again, just like with images, around a chart or anything like that, just the way this example shows here, you can type your text and it'll move around that image or that chart. But again, you can come in and play with individual pieces of the chart or move the chart in its entirety. Or if we go to insert chart, and let's pick a totally different chart, pie chart, and you can see how it changes that style there. So we still have the same chart, but we changed that style, and I can change these individual pieces of the pie chart. You see how I make it an exploding pie chart if you're into that. So let's say if I click somewhere else, let's go to insert, let's go to chart again, and I'm going to pick this bar chart. Totally different chart. As long as you're not selecting the chart, it's not going to change that. If you select regular, you know, in the body of the document, it'll let you add a different chart. So let's say we have this chart. If you have that same issue like we have with the pictures, if your charts start to overlap for whatever reason, however, if it, you know, gets in the way, right now I have the wrapping on, so I won't do that. But if your charts get in the way, you can go here to the format, and you'll still have those same options where you can bring forward or send it to the back. Again, that's the arrangement. So if you have a chart overlapping another one and it's in the way, change the arrangement so that they can move out of the way, or move the charts down so that they don't overlap one another. All right, so back to insert, screenshot. So you can hit screenshot, and what that's going to do is take a screenshot of whatever window is available. So I hit a screenshot here, and it's showing you the recording studio that I'm using to record the tutorial, because that's what's available. So that's an easy way to insert a screenshot. Another way is to use a snipping tool, but I think I'm going to save that for a different video. All right, so we got those different illustrations. Again, you have your add-ins. Online video is just that. You want to insert a video, which I would not suggest that. You'd rather just insert the link and let them go to the link. Inserting a video in there will make your document size very large, and you might not be able to get through a bunch of a few different type of email programs. So just be careful about that if you're going to insert a video. Most likely you just want to go with a link. So with the links, I'll show you how to set that up. Click the link. Let's say you want this to say this goes to Google. Obviously you can see I play way too much with a couple of coding programs. Everything's capitalized or some weirdness, but this is what it's going to say. And then we want to put the address. Where do we want that to go? So let's go google.com. You can go to different files or different programs or something like that if you want, but we want it to go to google.com. We know where we want it to go. You hit OK. So it's going to say this goes to Google. And now it says in order to go to Google, you need to control click. Uh-oh, what did I did something wrong. So let's see, what do we do wrong? Address. There we go. So now we have the Google address in there. Let's hit OK. And let's see, control click. Don't forget the www part. Because I'm a dummy, you can't see it on the other screen, but it'll open up Google. So here, I'll pull that here, and you can see where that shows up. So here, let's see, make sure you can see that. I'm gonna close that out, control click, and it automatically opens your default browser and it brings up straight to Google. So again, that's how you insert a link. So I'll show you that one more time. You click link, tell it what you want it to display, tell it where you want it to go, www.google.com or Microsoft.com. Hit OK. And when you click it, it's just going to treat it like text. But if you want that link to activate, you need to hold control and then click, and then it'll go ahead and load up and bring up your default browser and the website. All right, so now you know how to add in your link. And the good thing about that, if you check out the options in link, you can go to different pages that you've gone to. You can link it to different files. You can link it to a folder. You can link it to other places in the document. So, you know, if there's a section that talks about, let's say like some sort of recipe or something, you can have it linked, you know, to the dairy products or linked to alternatives to dairy products or something like that. Another good reason why you should want to use that, you know, say if you have an older parent or grandmother or something like that, you don't want them to have issues with, you know, like scams or phishing, you know, stuff like that if they're trying to check their bank information. So we can set up something like this. Let's go, let's say bank stuff, and we're setting this up for grandma. So we're going to call the link bank stuff, and we're going to go to, I hope this is their thing. And we want it to go to Bank of America. The reason why you want to set up something like that is so that when grandma needs to check her Bank of America stuff, she's not going through emails that are probably scams or something like that. You can set up a document for her to link her directly to where she needs to go, because it, in all honesty, it's really not difficult to build a web page that looks like a Bank of America homepage and has input boxes and things like that. So, I mean, we're not going to get into that stuff, but, you know, just keep that in mind. Even with your kids, if there's something that you want them to be able to access online or pay bills online, you can set up documents that take them directly to where you want them to go so that you know for sure that they're going to the right place. So let's see if that's the right Bank of America URL there. So bank stuff for grandma. So here, let's put a little note here. Granny, use this link. All right, so control click, and it brings it up, and it takes us directly to Bank of America. So that way we know for a fact that's where grandma needs to go. All right, so that's adding a link. And then you can link it to certain bookmarks. I don't have any bookmarks set up on this browser, but you can have it go to direct bookmarks. If you needed to bring in any kind of cross-referencing, you can set those up. Again, this is all in the Insert tab. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at on the Insert tab we're going to go to comments. So here, first, let's go ahead and put in some dummy text, hit enter, get the dummy text. And what I want to show you are the comments. Comments are really important. It's a really great tool to use. That way you can add information or feedback into a paper or a document without necessarily compromising the integrity of the document. You don't have to adjust or modify anything in a document. You can insert comments exactly where you want them to be, and the user or whoever is going to be receiving this document with the comments can give you feedback directly pertaining to that comment. So for example, we'll select this word here, consecutor, or whatever that word is supposed to be. I'm gonna hit comment, and you'll see you'll get this little side window here. So here we can add a comment and say, did you mean Structobot? So there you'll have that comment, and it's going to be associated with that word. You can put the cursor anywhere and put in your comment, but it's always best to highlight exactly what you're commenting on. So when they receive this document and they see the comments there, it'll click and show and highlight exactly what you're referring to. And that's a good way to show exactly what you're talking about, what you're referencing, what you want them to see that you're commenting on. And a lot of professors use it, teachers use it. It's just a great way to insert, your feedback and let them know exactly where you're, what you're referring to. And the good thing about it, you can hit reply, say no, and there you go. So you can actually have a dialogue in this document. So that's a good way if you're working on a team or something like that. I know in college we did a lot of team projects where some of us didn't even live in the same time zone. So we had a shared document where everyone can insert comments, and we can actually carry on a dialogue or discussion about a specific thing in our project paper. So remember, those are your comments. Once your comments are complete, you feel like you've made whatever necessary changes, you can always hit resolve, and now that comment is pretty much dead. However, you can still reply to it, but that lets them know that you've paid attention to it, you've taken care of it. You want to get rid of the comment, just right click and then hit delete comment, and now the comment's gone. So if you want to refer to this entire paragraph here, just again hit add comment, say whatever you need to say, and then when the person receives this document back, they'll be able to see those comments right there, and it'll point to exactly what you're referencing. All right, so right click, delete that comment, and we can leave this same text here. The next thing here, we're going to look at the header and footer. So with the header, there's already some pre-made things here for the header. So you can go into your header, select an option that you like, something that fits for the document that you're using. You click it and it'll automatically insert it, and you'll see here in the body of the document is grayed out. So this isn't editable, but we are in the header where we can edit things. So you can type in whatever you need here, and then double click on the normal document and you have your header. So you can also scroll down. So let's do this. Control C, and then I'm gonna just hit Control V a few times to make some extra papers here. And you can see that the header is still there, and it also continuously updates the page number. So we're on page 2, we go back to the header, you'll see us at page 1. So if you're not totally familiar with how to modify headers, just use one of the pre-made templates in the insert tab, and that will actually get your header set up for you. Same thing with the footer. If you want to do something like the page number, something like that, just click one and it'll automatically go into edit mode for the footer. Works the same way as the header. You just double click the body of the document to exit the footer editing mode. And as you can see here, like this one shows page 2. Here you got page 1. So let's say for the purpose of this document, we don't like that layout where it is. Double click in the footer. And then you can use, while you're in the footer mode, you can still use other things here. So I can still use these alignment options from the home tab. You can still use the formatting tabs. You can still change the text, the size of it, the actual font style. So you can still edit things while you're in the footer or the header mode, change the colors, the formatting. Again, you just want to know how to do that. So if somebody sends you a document and their page numbers are like this and they're blue and they should be black, you can go in there and change that kind of stuff. Or if in your case, say you decide to create something creative like a multi-page flyer type thing, you can go in there and put some funky wall colors or some creative text in there, and just kind of keep with the flow or the theme of whatever that document is that you're making. The same thing here with the page number. That's pretty much a header and footer option. You can go there and select, again, do you want the page number to go in the top of the header? Do you want it to go in the bottom of the page? Do you want it to go into the margins? You just select which one best fits for you, and it'll automatically insert. So let's just say we want to do bottom of the page, and we want to do like this one where it says page 1 of 2, 1 of 1. That's one that I used a lot, just because it lets them know how many pages the document should be in total. And then, of course, it's going to let them know what current page they're on. So we can take this, just highlight this, and go to the Home tab, set it to the right, and there you go. Now, you don't have to keep this page, the text in there. You can actually delete that. You do want to leave that 1 of 2 or 1 of 3 or whatever you have there. So when you scroll down, you notice our header hasn't changed, and you'll see page 2 of 2. So that's playing with your header and footer. If you're going to be creating a paper or something like that, a dissertation or something serious, a major project paper, you can go into your header. Here, let's go into the edit mode of the header. You can do a different first page. So let's say on our different first page, we'll say my paper is great. And now that we've changed that for the different first page, so remember, you just click different first page. This will be something to use if you're going to have a running head. So let's go, my paper is great. All right. And then when we scroll down, you'll see our header on our subsequent page hasn't changed. It still says my paper sucks, but our different first page says my paper is great. So with this one, you could probably put in, your name, the paper title, something like that. But if you're going to use something like a running head where it needs to have the header on each and every page, then that one you want to just leave it like this. And then that way you can put the title of the paper here and it'll show up exactly as that on each one. So let's go back to a different first page. Just scroll down here. And when we double click into this header, it's still, the document itself knows that it's a different first page, but it's not going to change the subsequent pages. And to show you that here, let's just Control V and add some more of our text in there. All right, so now we have a couple more pages, and you see that the main header is still the same on all the pages. And down in the footer, the page numbers have updated. Now, when you're in this, the edit mode, remember, keep an eye up top. So now we have 2 contextual tabs, and this is all about the design of the header and footer. So you can insert the page numbers. Again, more than one way to do the same thing. You can throw in the date and time. You can throw in information about the document, as in the author or, what computer it was built on, things like that. You have your quick parts. You have pictures you can throw in there. I'm not sure why you would want to put pictures in your header or footer, but, if the occasion calls for it, now you know how to do it. Here you can go to previous and next. All that's going to do is go to the previous header or previous footer, or the next header or the next footer. Again, you can just scroll up and down. That's as efficient as choosing one of those. And then you can have different odd and even pages. That works the same way as a different first page. The odd and even pages will have different headers if for some reason you may need that to happen. And then the last thing here, you can adjust the size of the header space. So obviously you wouldn't need that much space in the header, but say you want to have a little bit more real estate for your actual document body, you can minimize a little bit of this here and give yourself more space inside the body of your document. So again, just remember that there's a few different ways that you can format these and make sure that they're working accordingly. All right, so let's go back to our Insert tab, double click the header. So say you've gone through all of these options, you're happy with that. Again, multiple ways to do several different things. You can double click the body of the page and that'll take you out of edit mode, or you can just click this X up here, close header and footer, same thing. All right, so now we have a document with a different first page header. We also have page numbers and then a different header for our subsequent pages. So just get familiar with that, get comfortable with that, understand, based on whatever criteria is necessary for your document of how to manipulate and modify your headers and footers. And that's always in the Insert tab. All right, the text box, we don't really need to cover much. So here, let's hit Control A to select everything. I'm gonna hit Delete. And you can see here, we're down back to one page. But a text box is just that, it's just a text box. So if you feel more comfortable using that, it's almost like using a table, a pre-made table. It's a bounding box of text that you can modify. You can remove all these little glyphs and all that stuff. You have your caption there. So the text box is another cool thing to have. Just remember, it's kind of like the charts. You can click on individual elements and modify those. If you can see the resize handles here, I can totally resize the text. Or if I want to resize the graphic that's in there, you can resize that. If you want to remove it, then you can do that also. You can right click and delete it, or you can just hit delete and get rid of it if you want to get rid of that. But you can modify different portions of it. And when you have the four-way crosshair, then that means to move the entire thing. So again, if we want to just move just this little thing here, if you go here, it's going to ask, it's asking if you want to put text. That's why the cursor has the eye shape. But if that's not what you want to do, you want to move that, just go close to the bounding, or I'm sorry, the boundaries of it, or the borders. And then that way you can move this thing around. And you'll see that the overall text box perimeter has changed. And then you can change that also. So remember, you can change the individual parts, or you can change it in its entirety. All right, and our last few things here, word art is something that we pretty much covered in the home tab. That's just going to give you different designs on your fonts on your text. So here, we'll put that in here, select that, we'll go to word art, and then we can change these styles here. If you're going to do something creative, there's a few different ways to do that. And then you'll see the contextual tab opens up again, so we can add in shapes, add in different colors, different color schemes, things like that. This, the wrap text, that's just so it can help you wrap your text around the image. So say you want to write something about this image or about this portion of text, you can start writing and it'll move this around and put your new text either around it, below it, or above it. So it's all about how you need it to go there. All right, and then here we have the signature line. So you can insert your own little signature line. Again, where you've seen it happen before, they weren't doing anything special. It's literally something you can just insert. So let's say for the signer, we're gonna say, let's go Brown Llama. And yes, I spelled llama with 2 M's. It's an old joke from way back in the days of Xbox. So don't worry about that. And then we'll put in a title. I don't know, what is my title? Let's go Big Black Dude. So that's my title, Big Black Dude. You can put an email address here if you want. And then also there are instructions that you can have here. So that's like something you would have in like official documents. The good thing about this, say if you have some sort of contract with someone, I mean, of course, if it's a serious contract, you definitely want to consult an attorney because they specialize in that kind of stuff. But if it's just something that you're working out between a friend or a coworker or something, you can have your own little contract here. We'll insert our signature box here. Let that load up. And then you can see the bounding box here. So if you need to resize it, you can do that. And you'll see with this, it also has a contextual tab that opens up. So you can go to format. That way you can kind of change, because it's pretty much an image. So you can add some cool little effects to it if you need to. Most cases you really won't need to do that. But you can do things if you want to rotate it, play with the height of it, the width. Again, these same options that I'm clicking here are the same things that you can do here. You just highlight one of the handles that you want to resize on and play with that. And then if you want to move it around, like move it down or something like that, you just place your cursor there. And if you want to move it to the bottom of the document, just highlight here or click your cursor there in front of it. And you can hit enter if you want, just so you can bring it down. And let's say this is going to be a contract with both of us and we need to both sign this document. You can go back into insert, go back to the signature line and hit OK, or fill it out, of course. And then once you want to play with the formatting, resize it, whatever you need to do to it. And now you have two different ones. So position your cursor in between them and either hit tab or space or whatever you feel comfortable doing, and put some space there. So now we have a signature line for me, a signature line for someone else. So that's using your signature boxes. And again, if you want to move them down, just place your cursor in front of it, hit enter or tab or something like that to move it over, and you can push it down. And another thing that you can do here, you can double click into your footer go back to the Insert tab, go to Signature Line, hit OK, and insert the signature line inside the footer so that it's at the very bottom. Resize it if necessary so that you have a little bit more space in there. So again, you can insert things right inside the header and footer. Of course, this would be better in the footer so you can have all of your contractual agreement, insert the date. So here, let's do that real quick. I'm going to just double click back into the footer and click to the right so that it knows that I'm moving away. I don't want to modify that. And let's go to date and time. Now with date and time, you can select the short date format or the long date format. Again, it depends on how much space you have to play with and your preference on the type of information you want there. So me, I like the long date format. I don't know why, I just like to make sure I know the actual date. But you can double click that. And then if you need to put some space in there, just position the cursor in front of the date, hit tab, move it over. And there you go. You've just inserted a date and a signature line right there into the footer. All right, so let's go back to insert. We can leave that stuff down there in the footer. I'm gonna hit Control A to select everything. Now this kind of relates back to what I was saying with the show and hide of the paragraph. So if you hit that, then you can see how many times we hit enter, stuff like that. And then where we put a tab mark, all that good stuff. So let's delete all of that out of here. Let's turn that off. All right, and then now you have objects. You can insert various objects. Usually objects are images or text files, things like that. So if you can see here, we can insert in a PDF document, and I'll show you a better, quicker way to do that too. But you can insert different types of documents. And then if you're not 100% sure about that, you can always hit display as icon, and then that way you can see the type of icon that if you're more of one of the visual type of people, if that'll help you identify it. All right, and then you can also insert equations. So just by clicking on equation, you can see where it inserts that, and then you have all of your operators. Of course, you click the drop-down menu, you can see even more operators. You have different functions that you can put in. They're already pre-made for you. Now, I mean, a lot of people really won't use this, but if you work in accounting or statistics or something like that, and you want to be able to, express your calculations, then it's always a good idea to include the actual functions that you're using, especially, if you're going to use something like integrals. Another good thing for that is you can build custom math sheets for your own practice or for your children to practice. They're very helpful. So do remember that you can insert equations. And I'll show you one more thing here. You can always hit the drop down arrow here and pick equations that are already set up for you. And again, just like the templates, you can go to microsoftoffice.com to see more templates and actually play it. Look, you have accelerated motion. There's a lot of very advanced equations already set up for you. So again, it's a great way to practice. I know I used it a lot when we were playing with integrals. Our calculus teacher would put us into these like the calculations would literally take up an entire page type thing. So this was a good way to build your own practice. You have the quadratic formula, which after taking calculus and trig, that's like the easiest thing in the world to do right now is a quadratic formula. I pray for that. But just know you can insert all of these different types of functions, again, for practice, or if you need to insert those calculations to show how you came up with certain values or something like that. All right, so let's get rid of that. And then the last thing that you can do here, insert symbols. So if you need to find something like the copyright symbol, so here, let's zoom in a little bit there so you can see that. The registered trademark symbol, emojis, all that good stuff. You can hit more symbols, that way you can see a full thing here. I think they go over like Hebrew, all that stuff. So you can just kind of scroll down and scroll through the different symbols that are available. You find the symbol you want, double click it, and it'll insert it for you. So you can also set up shortcut keys if you want. The other thing you can do, it should show you here, it should be the Alt keys. For instance, copyright. When you highlight it, you see it shows the Alt key of 0169. So what that is, you can double click it to add it or click insert to add it. The Alt key would be this. You would hold down Alt, 0169 would be the key input. You let go of Alt and it inserts that same exact symbol. So you can always hop on Google or something like that and type in Alt key, Alt key reference, or Alt key cheat sheet or something like that, and it'll give you a, that way you have a little desktop reference that you can check for certain Alt keys. Again, you can always go into insert symbols, but just in case you're not working in Microsoft Word, this works in other documents as well. Okay, so that is for the registered trademark. That's the one I remember too. So I'm holding Alt 0174. You let go of Alt, and now you have the registered trademark emblem there. And if it's too small or you don't like it, and you can see it's already in subscript, you can go to the Home tab and play with it here. So look, you can still increase it as if it was text. You can modify it here with the superscript, subscript. So you can still modify things. So just remember, when you insert things, you can always jump back to the Home tab and start playing with the formatting. All right, now the last thing I'm going to show you here as far as insertion, here, let's minimize that. I'm going to snap this over here. Another thing that you can do, say if you wanted to put an image in, you can drag and drop. So I'm going to take this image here, drag it over to my Word document, release it, and it drops the image in there for you. And then, of course, once you click on the image, you still get that contextual tab, and you can start playing with all of the things I showed you before as far as the color correction, playing with the text and the captions. So here, let's get rid of that. Okay, so with this document here is just some content notes. So let's move that a little bit. You can drag something like this. It's an Excel spreadsheet, nothing special, and drop it into the actual document. Now, after it drops in, when you send this document to someone, they will have ability to open up this Excel spreadsheet. So all they would have to do is double click it, and it'll go ahead and start Excel for you and open up that document for you. So that's another way that you can insert Excel spreadsheets. If you don't want to include the actual chart or actual data, you can insert it that way so it becomes an attachment. So remember, there's two ways to do it. You have that attachment that you can drag and drop. And then, of course, if you double click it, it'll go ahead and open up that actual spreadsheet. And now this is just some general information for our gaming channel. It's just some content about some of the music that we used. Now, another thing you could do if you want to actually insert content, you highlight, select whatever it is you want. So let's say I'm going to grab these songs here. I'm going to hit Control-C. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because the next course is going to go straight into Microsoft Excel. So it's kind of like a little preview. And then I'm going to go back into my document, make some space, hit Control-V, and it's going to paste it exactly how it found it in Excel. And then, of course, you'll have to come in here and, move it around, format it so that it fits exactly. But that's exactly what came out of Excel. And the good thing about this is that this information can stay linked to this actual spreadsheet that we have here that we took the information from this spreadsheet. So what you can do with that is that if you set up the linking, you can update the spreadsheet, and then the next time you open up Microsoft Word, it's going to ask you, hey, that spreadsheet information has changed since the last time. Would you like to update it? You hit yes or no, but most times you'll hit yes, and then it'll update this in text chart with the new information from the spreadsheet if you change that. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that when we get into the Microsoft Excel class. So let's go ahead and select that. And you can see that that's also a table. So here, let me deselect that. And you can see where we can add in new rows. And it keeps the formatting. You'll just have to enter the new values, but it still works the same way. It's still a table, it's still a part of the spreadsheet. So let's get rid of that. And then we still have that. So you can just highlight it, hit delete or backspace to get it out of the document if you didn't mean it to do it that way. So remember, you can drag and drop the actual document itself and it'll load up as an attachment, or you can go in and select information that you want from the Excel spreadsheet. All right, and that will do it for the final video of our Microsoft Word course. Hopefully we came across some topics and concepts that work for you to help you be a little bit more efficient when using Word. Again, if you have any questions or comments, just drop them down below. Let us know. You can email us at winkingentleman@gmail.com. We'll be more than happy to help you out, especially if you're working on projects and things like that. So we'll do our best to help you out whenever we can. Just don't be shy. Seriously, reach out to us. Hey man, can you help me put together, a structure for a final paper or some big project or something like that? as long as the time is available, we have no problems helping whatsoever. So definitely feel free to reach out to us, send us any questions you may have, and look forward to our next classes. Like I said, the next course is going to be on Microsoft Excel. Then I'm probably going to cover PowerPoint, maybe a little bit of Outlook. We might bypass Outlook because I feel Outlook is pretty much, it's Microsoft Word, but with the ability to do more mailing options. So we'll see how that works out. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to our Microsoft Word course. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop us a comment, send us an email, whatever you're comfortable with. We're not shy guys, so we're always willing to help. All right. Again, my name's Dathan, or the Brown Llama. Thanks for checking us out, the Wink and Gentleman Society. Hopefully these skills will bump up your confidence a little bit. You can go tell your boss you deserve more money because you know how to use Microsoft Word. It's a valid argument. Peace.